All right. Ready to do a deep dive on hypoglycemia?
Oh, yeah. I'm fascinated by this one.
You sent over a bunch of articles and even some personal notes about it, so
Yeah.
I think we've got some really good stuff to unpack here.
Yeah.
And it's one of those sneaky conditions, right?
Hmm.
Most people think, oh, it's just diabetes, but your sources are showing that
Right.
it's a lot more than that.
Way more widespread.
Way more widespread, and really it's way more than
Mm.
just feeling a little hungry.
Absolutely.
We're
yeah.
talking blood sugar levels below 70 milligdl.
Yep.
That's like
Yeah, our brain.
your brain running on fumes.
It needs glucose like a car needs gas. So
It does.
pretty important stuff.
Really is.
So I think maybe what we'll do is we'll kind of look at what causes it
Okay.
first, and then we'll look at how to recognize it and then what to do about it.
Sounds good.
Does that
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
sound like a good roadmap for this?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so let's jump into those causes.
So obviously diabetes meds, right?
Of course, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, insulin, sulfonylureas.
Mhm.
These are things that can really lower blood sugar.
Absolutely, if not balanced.
It's not balanced, right?
Correctly.
It's like a tightrope walk, isn't it?
It is a balancing act for sure.
Yeah, you've got the meds, and then you've got the food that you eat, and even how much you're exercising. It's all playing a role.
Yeah, it's pretty complex.
Yeah, and you even mentioned in your notes about skipping breakfast sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Ever get that
Yeah.
shaky, can't think straight feeling?
Yeah, especially mid-morning if I skip breakfast.
Mid-morning, yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's not bad.
mild hypoglycemia.
It could be.
Yeah, I've definitely been there.
I think we all have at some point.
Makes you realize how important those balanced meals are.
It really does.
But even exercise, which we think of as being healthy, can use up
Yeah.
glucose surprisingly fast.
Yeah, it uses a lot of energy. Yeah, especially if you're really active or training for something.
For sure, if you're pushing yourself.
Yeah, and your sources mentioned if you're on those blood sugar lowering meds
Right.
and you're really pushing yourself physically,
Yeah, that's when you really have
you
to,
be careful.
things can get
Yeah.
tricky.
You got to watch it.
Yeah, and then there's alcohol, which always seems to sneak into these conversations.
Always. Right.
Yeah, a couple drinks without dinner
Oh, yeah.
can really mess with your blood sugar.
Definitely. And it's because alcohol actually
Yeah.
blocks your liver from releasing glucose.
Ah, okay.
So you're depleting it with the drinks, and your backup system is offline.
It's like a double whammy.
Exactly. Not a good combination.
So one thing I was curious about, reactive hypoglycemia.
Oh, yeah. Interesting one.
What's the deal with that?
So that's when your body kind of overreacts after you eat,
Okay.
especially a high-carb meal,
Right.
and it pumps out way too much insulin
Oh, okay.
and then causes your blood sugar to plummet. So it's not just how MUCH you eat, but what you eat.
Yeah,
It can trigger it.
the types of foods
Yeah.
can make a big difference.
And what's concerning, I read in one of the articles, is that this can be an early warning sign
Right.
of insulin resistance, which is a whole other
That's a whole...
can of ball game.
Yeah. So we've got the usual suspects, missed meals,
Right.
intense workouts,
Mm.
that after work happy hour.
Yep.
Anything else lurking out there that can cause this?
Well, there are a few,
Okay.
less common but still important causes.
Okay.
Hormonal issues,
Okay.
like Addison's disease or growth hormone deficiency.
Hmm.
Those can interfere with blood sugar regulation.
And I think I saw something in the articles about liver problems and even severe infections playing a role.
That's right. They can
Wow.
definitely contribute.
So these are less frequent causes,
Yeah.
but good to have on the radar,
Good to be aware of.
especially if you're experiencing this and you don't know why. Absolutely.
All right. So we've got a pretty good handle on the causes.
Okay.
Now, how do you know if it's actually happening?
Right.
What does it feel like?
What does it feel like
Yeah.
to have hypoglycemia?
the symptoms?
Yeah, so the symptoms can be pretty subtle at first,
Okay.
but they tend to escalate pretty quickly.
Okay.
It often starts with hunger pangs.
Okay.
Your body's like, hey, I need some fuel.
Like that I'm going to eat the table kind of
Not
hunger?
exactly. Exactly that. But it's not just hunger. You might also get kind of sweaty, but it's not like after workout sweat.
Oh, okay.
It's like cold, clammy sweat.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's your body's like, something's wrong.
Sending an SOS.
Yeah, big time.
Even before you fully realize it.
Exactly.
And then comes the shaky hand.
The shaky hands, yeah, like your nervous system
Yeah.
is short-circuiting because it's not getting the glucose it needs.
Well, it's like your body's saying, hey, pay attention.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And what about lightheadedness or dizziness?
Yeah, you might feel lightheaded, dizzy, like you're going to faint.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and your heart starts racing too. Right?
Okay.
It's trying to
You
compensate,
have to get that glucose where it needs to go.
yeah, to your brain and vital organs.
So if you're feeling hungry, sweaty, shaky, dizzy,
And your heart is pounding,
heart's pounding,
yeah, it's time to pay attention.
those are some pretty clear warning signs.
They are.
What happens if you miss those? Does it just go away on its own?
Unfortunately, no. It
Okay.
can get worse.
All right, so what happens? What does it progress to?
So those early symptoms we talked about, they can actually lead to confusion.
Okay.
You might have trouble focusing.
So it's not just physical anymore?
No, it affects your mental clarity.
It's affecting your brain.
Yeah, big time.
Wow.
And your speech might even get slurred.
Like you've had a couple too many?
Yeah, almost like that.
Wow, okay.
Blurred vision can also happen.
Really? I didn't know it could affect vision.
Yeah, because your eyes need glucose too.
Wow, that's scary.
It is scary, and in severe cases,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not treated, it can even lead to seizures
Wow.
or loss of consciousness.
Okay, so this is serious stuff.
This is serious stuff.
So we've got the causes, we've got the symptoms.
Mhm.
How do you actually diagnose this? Is it just feeling those symptoms?
Well, feeling the symptoms is definitely a red flag,
Okay.
but the gold standard for diagnosis is a blood sugar test.
Okay.
So if it's below 70 milli-GDL, that confirms it.
So if you're someone with diabetes and
Yeah.
they're already monitoring your blood sugar, you probably
Yeah, you'd catch it early.
catch it pretty early.
Exactly.
But for people who aren't regularly doing that, what do doctors do?
They use what's called the Whipple triad.
Okay, the Whipple
It's
triad.
like a 3-part checklist.
Okay, I like checklists.
Yeah, me too. So first you got to have those symptoms we talked about.
Okay, sweating, shakiness, all that.
Exactly. Then a blood test has to
Mhm.
confirm
Mhm.
that your blood sugar is actually low.
So you need that evidence. It's not just
Right. Not just how you're feeling.
a self-diagnosis.
Exactly. And then finally, your symptoms have to improve
Okay.
after you have some sugar.
So it's like solving a mystery.
It is. It's like connecting the dots.
You got the symptoms, you got the low blood sugar, and then
And then they're relieved by sugar.
it's relieved by sugar.
It all fits together.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about people who have recurring hypoglycemia?
Yeah.
Like, is there a way to kind of continuously monitor things?
There is. There's this great tool
Okay.
called a continuous glucose monitor,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
or CGM.
CGM. Okay.
It's a small device. You wear it,
hmm
and it tracks your glucose levels 24/7.
So you can see exactly what's going on.
Exactly. No more guessing.
That's it's like an early warning system
It is. It's like a superpower
for your blood sugar.
for your blood sugar. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's great for people who might not always feel those early symptoms,
Especially with diabetes.
especially with diabetes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
What if someone's having these episodes and it's not clear? Why
right.
are there tests to help figure out the cause?
There's a test called a fasting test,
Okay.
and it's done under medical supervision.
Mm-hmm.
They monitor your blood sugar while you're fasting.
Okay.
So they're basically trying to trigger an episode in a safe environment.
So they can see what's happening.
Exactly, to understand why your sugar is dropping.
Interesting.
Yeah, it helps diagnose specific types of hypoglycemia,
Weak.
like fasting hypoglycemia,
Boosting hypoglycemia. Okay.
which happens when your blood sugar drops after not eating for a while.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
So we've covered a lot of ground.
we have.
We talked about the causes,
Yeah.
the symptoms, even
Right.
the diagnosis.
Uh-huh.
But what happens when you're actually in the midst of a hypoglycemic episode?
Okay, yeah.
What do you do?
Well, the most important thing is to raise your blood sugar quickly and safely. And for that, there's a handy rule, the rule of 15.
Okay, the rule of 15, I like it. Tell me more.
All right, so it's all about fast-acting carbohydrates.
Okay.
If your blood sugar drops below 70, you need about 15 grams of fast-acting carbs.
Okay, give me some examples.
Okay, so this could be glucose tablets,
Yeah.
fruit juice, regular soda, not diet soda,
Okay.
tablespoon of honey, or even some candy.
So basically anything that will get sugar into your system quickly.
Exactly. You need to act fast.
Got it.
Then you wait 15 minutes
Okay.
and recheck your blood sugar.
Right?
If it's still low, repeat the process.
So it's not about just eating a ton of sugar.
No, it's measured doses.
Okay, you got to check your levels.
So you got to be careful not to overcorrect.
Because you don't want to send it too high.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about emergencies? Like if someone's unconscious or having a seizure?
Yeah, good point.
Sugar's probably not the solution then.
No, in those cases, you need glucagon.
Glucagon, what is that?
It's a hormone that signals your liver to release stored glucose.
Okay.
So it gives your blood sugar a big boost.
But you can't give yourself an injection.
No, you can't.
So someone else has to know how to do it.
Exactly. It's important to teach the people you're with
Okay.
how to administer it in an emergency.
So it's like a life-saving skill
It really is.
that everyone should know.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, what about after the episode when you're feeling better?
Okay, so once your blood sugar is back to normal,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to eat a balanced meal.
Okay, so what does that look like?
Think protein, carbs, and healthy fats.
Mm-hmm.
Something like peanut butter on whole wheat toast
Okay, I like that.
or yogurt with fruit.
Yeah, something that'll give you sustained energy.
Exactly, to prevent another dip.
All right, so we've talked about what to do during an episode. Mm-hmm.
Let's
talk about preventing them in the first place.
Okay, great.
Prevention is key.
It is.
And I think it all starts with healthy eating habits.
Okay.
So what does a hypoglycemia-proof diet look like?
Well, whether you have diabetes or not,
Yeah.
if you're prone to low blood sugar,
Mm-hmm.
eating regular balanced meals is key.
Okay, so we're not skipping meals.
No skipping meals.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Exactly.
Those are non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
And making sure that each meal has a good mix
Right.
of carbs, protein, and healthy fats.
Absolutely, to keep your blood sugar stable.
Now, of course, if you have diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
regularly monitoring your blood sugar is essential.
Absolutely essential.
And those continuous glucose monitors, the CGMs,
Yes.
those can be a game changer.
They can be. They can catch those dips before they get serious.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great technology.
What about if you're on medication
Okay.
to manage blood sugar?
Mm-hmm.
What else do you need to know?
You need to stay in close communication with your doctor,
Okay.
especially if your lifestyle changes.
Yeah, if you're eating differently.
If you're sick,
Yeah.
any changes, you got to let them know.
Because even small tweaks to the medication can make a big difference.
A big difference.
So communication is key.
Communication is key.
Okay, what about just being prepared?
Okay, yeah.
Anything else people can do?
Always carry a source of glucose with you.
Okay.
The glucose tablets, juice box, hard candy, whatever works for you.
Like an emergency kit.
Yeah, your blood sugar emergency kit.
I love that.
And remember what we said about alcohol?
Moderation?
Moderation and never on an empty stomach.
Got it.
Pair it with some food.
Okay, that's some really solid advice.
I hope so.
So, wow, we've covered a ton of ground.
You have.
Causes, symptoms, diagnosis,
Treatment prevention.
treatment prevention, the whole shebang.
The whole 9 yards.
What are some key takeaways you want our listener to walk away with?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. Hypoglycemia is serious, but it's manageable.
Okay.
Recognizing those symptoms, understanding the causes, having a plan.
Yeah.
That helps you stay in control.
I like that. It's about feeling empowered,
Yeah, exactly.
not overwhelmed.
Not overwhelmed, yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of part 1 of our deep dive on hypoglycemia.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into some of those real-life tips
Looking forward to it.
that you found in the sources.
Yeah, me too.
So stay tuned.
As we were talking about understanding the why behind hypoglycemia, something in the source material really struck me.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost like a side note,
Okay.
but it talked about like real life tips
Oh, nice.
from people who live with this every day.
I love that because it's one thing to hear the science,
Right.
but those personal experiences
Yeah,
really bring it home.
totally.
What kind of tips did they share?
One person talked about never leaving the house
Okay.
without like a granola bar or
Yeah.
something sugary in their bag.
Okay.
They said you just never know when you might need it.
That's so smart. Like a little insurance policy
Yeah, exactly.
against a blood sugar crash?
Tucked away in your purse.
Yeah, in your backpack.
Exactly.
I love that.
And then another person mentioned setting reminders on their phone to eat,
Oh, good idea.
especially on busy days.
Yeah, because it's so easy to get caught up in work
Oh, it's so easy.
and just completely forget about food,
Especially when you're really focused.
which can be a recipe for disaster.
It is if you're prone to hypoglycemia.
Yeah, I'm so guilty of that.
Me too.
I get like tunnel vision and I'm like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, you just forget.
I haven't eaten in 6 hours.
Exactly. A reminder would be helpful.
Yes, a reminder would definitely help me prioritize those meal breaks.
Totally.
I need that.
And then there was someone who absolutely raved about CGMs.
Oh, yeah, those continuous glucose monitors.
Yeah.
They do seem like
A game changer
a
for
superpower.
blood sugar management.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This person said they were able to catch those lows
Uh-huh.
before they became severe, which, helps avoid all those scary situations.
That's amazing.
It's amazing how technology can really
Yeah.
empower people.
Yeah, to take control of their health.
Yeah. And I just think these real-life tips
Yeah.
are so valuable
They're so relatable.
because it's that human perspective.
It is. It's like having a friend
Yeah.
who understands exactly what you're going through.
And give you advice
Yeah.
based on their experience.
Exactly.
It's really helpful.
You know, speaking of advice, we've covered a lot today,
We have.
but I wanted to touch on something from your notes.
Okay.
You mentioned that diagnosing hypoglycemia
Right.
isn't always straightforward.
It's not. No.
Sometimes it can be a bit of a medical mystery.
It can be a real puzzle.
Okay, now you've really piqued my curiosity.
Okay.
What kind of something else are we talking about?
So in rare cases,
Okay.
hypoglycemia can actually be a sign of a tumor.
Really?
Yeah. Specifically in the pancreas.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, these tumors can sometimes produce excess insulin.
So it's not always just lifestyle and medication.
No, sometimes there's a more complex explanation.
Sometimes there's something else going on.
Yeah, something deeper.
So it's really important to work with your doctor.
Absolutely, if you're having these episodes.
Yeah.
Especially if they're persistent or unexplained.
Because they can rule out any of these underlying medical conditions.
Exactly, and make sure you're getting the right treatment.
So it's about investigating that potential root cause.
Yes, finding the root cause is crucial.
Not just treating the low blood sugar itself.
Exactly, it's like detective work.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
It has been interesting, hasn't it?
I feel like I'm gaining a much deeper understanding of hypoglycemia beyond just the basics.
Yeah, me too.
But before we get too carried away with the science,
Okay.
I wanted to circle back to something we touched on earlier.
Right.
The human side of hypoglycemia.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we talked about the physical symptoms.
Right, the blood sugar numbers, the
Yeah.
medications. But what about the emotional toll
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
of living with this condition?
That's a huge part of it. And it often gets overlooked.
Yeah, because hypoglycemia can be really stressful
Oh, it can be incredibly stressful.
and anxiety-provoking, right?
Yeah, especially for people who experience it a lot.
It's like you're always on edge,
Yeah, you're constantly worried.
wondering when the next crash might hit.
Exactly. That fear and worry can really impact your mental health.
So it's not just about managing your physical health.
No, it's about your mental well-being, too.
It's about the whole package.
The whole picture.
And that's where support systems come in,
Yeah, for sure.
like friends, family, therapists.
Absolutely. Having people you can talk to who understand
who get it.
can make a huge difference.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner.
I love that. Yeah, your support team.
Yeah, and don't underestimate the power of online communities and support groups.
Oh, yeah, those can be amazing. Connecting with others
Yeah.
who are facing similar challenges.
Yeah, it can be so validating.
It can be so empowering.
You realize you're not alone,
Exactly.
and it creates that sense of shared understanding.
Yeah, you're not the only one
Yeah, exactly.
navigating these ups and downs.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered the physical aspects, the medical complexities.
The emotional impact.
Emotional impact.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to address before we wrap up?
I think it's important to touch on stigma,
Okay.
especially for people with diabetes.
Stigma, what do you mean?
Well, unfortunately,
Okay.
there's still a lot of misunderstanding and judgment
Okay.
surrounding diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And hypoglycemia can sometimes be seen as a sign of poor management.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like blaming someone for something they can't control.
It's not their fault.
It's not. And it's important to remember
Yeah.
that hypoglycemia can happen to anyone with diabetes.
Even if they're doing everything right.
Even if they're meticulous.
It's just part of living with this
Yeah, it's a complex disease.
complex disease.
And we need to be more compassionate
Absolutely.
and
So
understanding.
it's about fostering compassion
Yeah.
and understanding for ourselves and for others.
Exactly. Let's break down those stereotypes.
Yeah, I love that.
Create a more supportive environment
Yeah.
for everyone.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
This deep dive has been such a powerful reminder
it has been, hasn't it?
that knowledge is power.
It really is.
And that open and honest conversations can help us challenge those outdated beliefs.
Totally. We need to talk about these things.
Boy, dear.
Openly and honestly.
Yeah.
And remember, if you're struggling with this,
Hmm.
you're not alone.
Yeah.
There are resources available.
There are.
People who understand.
Yeah.
And there is hope
Absolutely.
for a healthier, happier future.
Beautifully said. And as always, we want to hear from you, our amazing listeners. So what resonated with you today?
What are your takeaways?
What are you going to do differently? Share your thoughts on social media. We love hearing from you. It's amazing, isn't it?
What is
Just how individual the experience can be.
with hypoglycemia?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just a matter of one size fits all.
You're absolutely right. It's not like we can just give everyone the same advice.
Exactly. And that's where healthcare providers come in, right?
Absolutely. They're essential in this process.
They can really work with each person, figure out a strategy
Yeah, personalized approach.
tailored to their specific needs, circumstances.
Yeah, like a partnership,
Yeah, it is. It's like a detective team
I like
working
that.
together to solve the mystery.
Solving the blood sugar mystery.
Exactly, because what works for one person might not work for another.
Absolutely. Everyone's different.
And it's not just about, the healthcare provider giving instructions.
Right.
It's about empowering the individual to really take ownership
Yeah, to become their own advocate.
of their own health journey.
Exactly. To really understand their body.
What it needs, how it reacts.
And it works for them.
So the more you know about hypoglycemia,
Mm-hmm.
the better equipped you are to make those decisions.
Absolutely. Information is power.
Everything from recognizing those subtle signs,
Yeah, those early warning signs.
knowing the causes, having a plan of action.
If an episode hits, yeah.
It's like going from being a passenger to being in the driver's seat
I love that analogy.
of your own health.
Taking control.
And that shift in mindset, I
Yeah.
think, can make all the difference
It really can.
in preventing those blood sugar crashes and living a healthier, happier life.
And feeling more confident.
So much covered today. Science, emotional side.
The importance of personalized care.
Yeah, what would you say is the most important thing
Ooh, that's a tough one.
for our listener to walk away with?
I think it's this. Hypoglycemia is serious,
Okay.
but it is manageable.
Okay.
Knowledge is power.
I like that.
Arm yourself with the information, what we talked about today,
Mm-hmm.
and you can take charge of your health.
And don't forget the human side of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're not alone. There are support systems out there.
There are people who get it.
People who understand, resources to help.
You're not defined by this condition,
Yeah. That's so important to remember.
There's so much hope out there for a healthy, fulfilling life.
Even with hypoglycemia.
Even with hypoglycemia, yeah.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
And as always, we'd love to continue the conversation
Yes.
with you, our amazing listeners.
What are your takeaways?
What resonated with you today? What are you going to be differently?
Head over to our social media.
Let us know your thoughts.
We'd love to hear from you.
We're all in this together.
We are.
That's all for our deep dive into hypoglycemia.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, stay curious and stay well.